All right, rock and roll. Welcome to the Scorched Earth podcast for Wednesday, February 5th. Wow, January went so quick. Barely knew you, huh? And please, like super producer Stacy says, leave your comments and hit the like and subscribe button. We could really use the support. We don't have advertising. It's not that we have morals. We just don't have advertising yet. That we do have morals. Stacy always keeps me in check. God bless her. Today we're going to have our weekly grocery update. We've been doing this since President Trump came into office. He was telling us for a year he was going to lower the prices of grocery items that had careened out of control under the Biden administration. Just for a little reminder, the inflation rate in the last year of the Biden administration was 2.9%. We shall see where we are a year from now. Give you a little backstory here. On inaugural day, a dozen eggs, cage-free, because I can only eat what my boy Kramer tells me to, $9.99. And I am going to figure out a way to put this on the screen to show you the prices, but you're just going to have to trust me, okay? I know we're just getting to know each other, but my mom says I'm very trustworthy. So we got that in the bag, right? The other half the time she tells me I'm lazy, so let's just go with the former, all right? On 127, the price went up 10%. If you've been following the podcast, and I appreciate those of you who do every day, it went to $10.79. Whoa. Somebody didn't get that Trump memo. Well, today, I went in to our local supermarket, Stater Brothers. It's a chain, prominent chain down here in Southern California. And wait for this. This is going to be the spoiler alert. $13.48. And, yep, it gets thicker. Here is what they had in the cooler where all the eggs were. Signs, multiple signs saying the same thing. Valued customers, due to persistent challenges posed by the avian flu affecting U.S. flocks, you may notice egg prices are fluctuating. Wow. Okay. That's like the restraining order on eggs. Don't come back here. But you know what? We're going to continue down the path of the grocery items, the four that we have, and I'm sure we're going to see some really optimistic things coming. So we get next to Jimmy Dean bacon. Love that Jimmy Dean. Don't even know what he has to do with bacon, but let's just go with it. 2 pounds. Started out at $5.99 on inaugural day. Today, it's still $5.99. Not noticing any price decreases, but okay. Ice cream, half a gallon of pistachio cashew. My favorite. Okay. My A1C doubles when I just read this. Okay, so I'm here for you. Start out $3.99. There was a price drop, a digital price drop to $3.49 the second week. Well, the good times can only last so long, President Trump. It's back to $3.99. Yep. Sorry. Good things just don't last forever, buddy. And finally, we got some Tillamook cheese. That's that Tillamook. Man, that is some good stuff. My mom got me hooked on that. Oh, Mom, I love you, but you made me gain 50 pounds. I'm telling you, that Tillamook is good. Ice cream and the cheese. Just out of Oregon. Oh my gosh, that is it's delicious. Just regular cheddar though, okay? I can't afford that really avant-garde type stuff, the brioche and all that other stuff. I don't even know what that is, okay? Started out at $7.99, been $7.99 ever since yesterday. Today, $7.99. So there we go. We're going to keep this going. Whoa. What's going on with the light? Uh-oh. Hello. There we go. Wow. I wish I knew what I did there. Tells you I'm really in control of what's going on here. So I guess the big story in the news today is President Trump talking about the Gaza Strip. And here is his press conference with Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu.
I also strongly believe that the Gaza Strip, which has been a symbol of death and destruction for so many decades and so bad for the people anywhere near it, and especially those who live there, and frankly, who's been really very unlucky. It's been very unlucky. It's been an unlucky place for a long time. Being in its presence just has not been good, and it should not go through a process of rebuilding and occupation by the same people that have really stood there and fought for it and lived there and died there and lived a miserable...
Let's take a break there for a second. Who in the F is writing these speeches? I mean, are you getting some third grader? I mean, I'm not asking for a iambic pentameter, but I'm asking for words to actually have some meaning. I swear to you, I have been out with my buddies on a 3-day bender on a bachelor party who speak more coherently than the President of the United States. I mean, is he winging this, or did somebody actually put pen to paper and go, yeah, here's what we're going to do. We're going to keep repeating the same prepositions. Oh my gosh. I'm listening to this. This is real. This is real. I wish I could make this up, but here we go.
Existence there. Instead, we should go to other countries of interest with humanitarian hearts, and there are many of them that want to do this, and build various domains that will ultimately be occupied by the 1.8 million Palestinians living in Gaza, ending the death and destruction and, frankly, bad luck. This could be paid for by neighboring countries of great wealth. It could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 12. It could be numerous sites, or it could be one large site. But the people will be able to live in comfort and peace, and we'll make sure something really spectacular is done. They're going to have peace. They're not going to be shot at and killed and destroyed like this civilization of wonderful people has had to endure. The only reason the Palestinians want to go back to Gaza is they have no alternative. It's right now a demolition site. This is just a demolition site.
Wow, a lot to unpack there. First and foremost, this is Palestinian territory. These people have lived there for generation after generation. And he says they don't want to live there. Okay, where do they want to live? Who's going to house them? All that. And I got another question that the national media seems to have missed. And maybe maybe you guys can inform me. Put this in the comments. What about our own homeless? You know, isn't this exactly the same thing I've heard from the Republicans about Ukraine? Well, we don't need to be sending money to another country. You know, we need to take care of the people here. There's some validity in that point. I'm not going to argue that. So now this guy wants to illegally seize land that the Palestinians have lived on for a long, long time, and then resettle them into Egypt or Jordan, which has unequivocally said they don't want them. I don't understand why we're spending the money. What about the homeless here? Why aren't we having housing here in America for the homeless?
Virtually every building is down. They're living under fallen concrete that's very dangerous and very precarious. They instead can occupy all of a beautiful area with homes and safety, and they can live out their lives in peace and harmony instead of having to go back. And
how about some Americans?
The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and we will do a job with it too. We'll own it and be responsible for dismantling all of the dangerous unexploded bombs and other weapons on the site, level the site and get rid of the destroyed buildings, level it out, create an economic development that will supply unlimited numbers of jobs and housing for the people of the area. Do a real job. Do some.
Yeah, do a real job. I guess we can't spend that money in America? We can't house Americans? We can't find industry here to put them to work? I don't know. Seems kind of weird to me. But let us start with the first premise that we have no legal authority in Gaza. This is land occupied, recognized by the UN and the world at large as the homeland of the Palestinian people. Okay? I don't seem to see Trump talking about how displaced Ukrainian people are getting by the Russian invasion. Doesn't seem to be. I thought that war was going to be settled. I mean, we're 2 weeks and counting. I thought it was a 24 and out. His proposal for the permanent resettlement of more than 2 million Palestinians who have lived in Gaza for over 60 years. Okay, now I know not 2 million have lived there, but this is generational. They have lived there. This is their homeland. I don't know if he's taking a page out of the General Custer, let's resettle the Indians, when all of a sudden, isn't that the playbook for the United States in history? Hey, you know what? We don't want the Indians of Manhattan because we think that's prime real estate. Let's move them over to XYZ. And then when we find out there's oil there, we go, you know what? We're going to move them out to South Dakota. We're going to move them to Arizona. Have you ever noticed all the big Indian reservations are in Oklahoma, Arizona, South Dakota? Places nobody wants to live? Wow. Spoiler alert. Yeah. America does a really good job of resettling. Just ask the Sioux, the Cherokee. Yeah. Lots of good stuff going on there. Yeah. Yeah, worked out great. Now, the land that the Palestinians own is Gaza, which we talked about the other day, a mile wide by 18 miles. It's a cage, but they also have authority over the West Bank. They have a claim to the West Bank. Unfortunately, Israel seems to, basically knock down a fence, take tanks, take tractors, and then move the fence another 100 yards. They are infamous for that, and they keep expanding the West Bank. When you hear about Israel expanding the West Bank, that's what they do. They've got a line, they got a border, and then they knock down their own border, and then they literally move it 100 feet, 200 feet, 300 feet, and expand their area. And who's going to mess with Israel, right? Well, Hamas did, but that wasn't over the West Bank. That was just, the occupation of the land. And I guess my rhetorical question is, I wonder how the American Muslims and Palestinians feel who voted for Trump against Kamala or abstained from voting for Kamala, as to show that it couldn't get any worse than what Biden did. Let's reconnect here for 1 second. Biden didn't allow Israel to use 2,000-pound bombs. He demanded humanitarian aid get in there. He didn't talk about resettling all the Palestinian people. I mean, let's call it what it is. He's going to divvy it up with Saudi Arabia. I don't understand. Is this going to be a colony of ours? Now that we're going to, quote unquote, clear the bombs? I mean, where do we get this money from? I thought we didn't have any money to spend anywhere else. They're getting rid of USAID. I mean, because God forbid that the $2 billion a year they spend goes to help humanitarian causes around the world. We don't have money for that. But we've got money for this reclamation project? Okay. We don't have money. Trump doesn't have money to give food and water to the Palestinian people. But boy, if he could put condos in that beachfront property, it's all good. Come on, let's do it. Yeah, okay. It's the hypocrisy of and it goes on both sides. But the hypocrisy here of Trump saying, I want to withdraw from all wars. I don't want us in foreign lands. We don't need to be spending money there. And then the first thing he does 2 weeks in is say, hey, we're going to colonialize the Gaza Strip. Like, okay, yeah. I mean, you could tell this is a clearly thought out plan, especially when he says where they're going to put it. Those countries, Egypt and Jordan, are saying, no, you can't put them here. There's going to be too much political instability. But I guess we'll see what unfolds in the coming days. So in America, we've had quite a few immigration and deportation rallies and protests. We had one in Los Angeles on last Sunday on the 405 freeway. Monday, we had one in Washington, D.C. And I was doing some grinding on this, and Wikipedia reported that, I want to ask you, in your mind, we were told about how bad, how lax, how porous our border was and how terrible Biden was in terms of immigration. And I'm not going to argue that there definitely could have been some improvement. But how many Mexicans, illegal Mexicans, do you think the United States Border Patrol, in conjunction with Homeland Security and ICE, deported in 2024? Okay, this is going to be Final Jeopardy for you, okay? I just don't do it as well as Alex. God, I loved Alex, though. I love how he would, he has the answer in his hands. And they would say, potato. And he'd go, no, it is potato. I'm like, oh, thanks, Alex. The answer, for all you still playing Home Jeopardy, was 2 million. There was 2 million Mexicans were deported last year by the U.S. government. Now, listen to these stats. This is also coming out of Wikipedia. 40 to 60% of the people deported were actually United States citizens. Now, I dived into that. I did a lot of research on that, and I don't understand that. I mean, the only thing, I saw one article in Reuters, and it seemed to indicate that there's quotas. Now, the quotas were far less under Biden than they are to Trump. They were somewhere between 300 and 700 a week, quote unquote. I guess an officer or a patrol unit had to get a week. Trump has moved them from 1,200 to 1,500. So I would assume that number is going to go up considerably. But of that number, 40 to 60% were citizens of the U.S. 70% of those were kids. Yeah, there we go, right? But here comes where I'm really going with this, and I'm really effing pissed off at this. That we are talking, the debate in this country, Democrat and Republican, has been about illegal immigration. Okay, let's deport them. They're a threat. They're this, they're that. The question I think we all should ask is, why are they here? Well, I think the logical thing, and I'm a logical guy, it's like Trump said, about the DEI caused the plane crash. It's just common sense, right? Hopefully my common sense is a little more astute than his, but they're here for money. They come here for jobs, okay? Believe me, you're not coming to America for the weather these days, right? So my question is, and this is where we're going to do a deeper dive today, why aren't the business owners being criminally charged for hiring illegal aliens? Okay, now what is the truth? And I did some serious research on this. Now, the New York Times in May 31st of 2019. Now remember, this was in the middle of the Trump administration. Boy, he was up, he was rolling, he was building that wall, he was doing it all. The New York Times reported in the 12-month period from April 2018 to March 2019, only 11 people in the entire United States were criminally prosecuted by the federal government for hiring illegal aliens. Wow. And I'm going to say it one more time. Wow. In that year, Trump deported 1.7 million illegal aliens. Yeah, now, remember that number, because that's less than what Biden deported last year. Oh, why use facts? Let's keep moving on. In that New York Times article, they also stated that in general, the federal government has never made a priority of prosecuting employers for hiring illegal aliens or undocumented workers or illegal immigrants, whatever you want to call it. And in the very few cases where the employers were convicted, they very, very seldom, like for instance, in that 11 people who were persecuted or prosecuted in 2019, only one had sanctions against his business license. He didn't even lose it. The rest didn't even have sanctions against their business. And other sentences are very light and fines are pretty much non-existent. Now, finally, they surmised in this article, it is rare for private sector companies to lose their business license or be fined. Well, I guess that's basically what we just said, right? Now, unauthorized workers in 2022 were 8.3 million. Now, these are some mind-blowing numbers, okay? But in Trump's last year in office, 2019, okay, it's not his last year. It's his second to last year, but I didn't count COVID, okay? I didn't think that'd be a fair representation of where we were. There was 7.4 million. I mean, we're right there. We're about 10% off. Like, wow. And here is the truth. Here is the honest to God truth. They're not going after business owners. They are doing the populist move. Let's go after the illegal aliens. And here is what the power structure wants. They want me and you not to look at them. They want us to fight with each other. They want white to hate brown. They want brown to hate black. They want black to hate yellow. They want yellow to hate white. They want us to hate each other and fight among ourselves so we don't look at what son of a guns they are. I'm trying to be good, Stacy. Trying to be good. Now, in the entire workforce in the United States, last year, illegal immigrants made up 4.8% of the U.S. workforce. And one of the things that this illegal workforce does is they contribute heavily to the tax base in this country. These same people, 4.8%, paid over $100 billion in federal income tax in 2023. Okay, or a year off, 2023. And in that same year, they paid $27 billion in Social Security taxes. Now, let me tell you what the truth of the matter of fact is, that 15 years ago, the cry was Social Security is going to be bankrupt by 2025. Well, why don't you hear that anymore? Yeah, we're hearing about 2032. We're hearing about 2033 that Social Security is going to go bankrupt, blah, blah, blah. Well, why did they revise it from 2025? The reason is because through E-Verify, what they did is the government's really cute. They want to deport them, but they also want to get their tax money, right? So what happens is these illegal immigrants work in the fields. They get green cards. They get that. They're technically allowed to be here, even though, quote unquote, they're illegal. And the reason they do that is so they can pay taxes, right? Nobody's paying cash anymore. Even the farm workers in the Central Valley of California, all the way to Nebraska, those in Georgia, they are literally getting a check. Nobody is running out there with a bunch of cash, $100 bills, gangster rolls, and handing out cash. They're cutting everybody a check. Nobody is doing that anymore, right? You're not. And also remember this, businesses write off payroll. They get to write off payroll. So they're not going to pay you under the table. It just doesn't make sense. They don't get the write-off. Start understanding how the business world works. They're just looking out for themselves. So they're hiring these illegal aliens. They get no repercussions from a Democrat or Republican administration. These illegal aliens, green cards, whatever you want to, undocumented workers, whatever, they pay into Social Security and they never get to collect it. Never. That's it. They're funding the system. You know? It's just like, wow. It's going to a club, paying the admission and not going in. Yeah, you're going to fund the club, but you're not going to enjoy any of the spoils. That's pretty much my life, you know? They make me pay just to show up in front. And then they go, okay, go home. Go home, okay? And I wish that the Republicans and even the Democrats, to me personally, I think it is immoral and unconscionable that these people pay into a system and they don't get to reap the benefits. Look, you could sit here and do the Monday morning quarterback and say, hey, but they were illegal. Well, if they're effing illegal, don't take their tax money. I mean, make up your mind. What's right is right. If they pay into the tax base, they should reap what they get. And I was reading, they don't get any federal EBT. They don't get any food stamps. They don't get, you hear this stuff. Oh, they get home loans and they get them. Come on. It's just nonsense. It's just demagoguery. All right. That's enough of my rant for today. Hopefully super producer Stacy ain't too mad with me. All right. Please hit the like and subscribe button. I love you all. Leave some comments unless they're derogatory, then I don't really want to talk to you. All right. Have a good day.